All right, guys, it's Dustin Miller, PPC Pros, back again. This is a family law case study part 2. So this one's pretty interesting. A lot of people hear about geo-targeting and targeting the right locations. So for this particular client, we found a very interesting issue, which was actually the opposite of what you're probably used to hearing when it comes to geo-targeting. So a lot of people tell you, make sure you don't target too broad, make sure you target really tight areas, make sure you don't go too wide. But they don't tell you about the other side of that coin, which is the smaller of a area you target, meaning like a zip code, the more likely it is that you're going to miss out on people you want to target, and you may include people who you don't want to target. So I'm going to give you a perfect example of this right now. So on my screen over here, you can see I've got whatismyip.com. It's just a website where you can look up your IP address. And if you go ahead and take a look right here, it says I am in the city of Redmond in the state of Washington. Postal code 98073. I am in South Florida. I am in South, so I don't think I could be a whole lot further from this location if it was possible. So it's just one, it just goes to show as far as targeting on a very, small level how things can go wrong. In this case, it's on a very large level, but let me use a different service. I ran the same lookup from this service here, and this one's a lot closer to home, so I would probably say this is one to keep in mind, or as a good example for this problem. So I am actually in Coral Springs, Florida. Right here you can see that it does say I'm in Florida. It says I'm in the city of Pompano Beach, which, as you can see on this map, there's this humongous radius around where I'm at. I'm actually out here. You can see where that little finger is on the mouse. So Pompano Beach is here. Back in the day, a lot of this was Pompano Beach. But even if you look at the zip code, which is 33065, that is not the zip code that I'm in. So when you do zip code targeting, a lot of times here, I'm actually, if you were targeting my zip code where I'm at, you would miss me completely, and you would get possibly people from another zip code. A lot of the reason why that is because, especially for desktop users, Google uses an IP address to identify where people are located. So if you give them a small location, it's much easier for them to be inaccurate. With a mobile device, it's a little bit easier because they're pinging your phone and they can tell where you are because it's attached to you, right? With a desktop, it's not exactly that way. So for mobile, it works out a lot better than it does for desktop. So what we recommend is when you're doing your geo-targeting, you don't want to go much larger than you need to, but you also don't want to go ultra small, because you can run into this issue and miss out on good traffic. The other part is Google doesn't recognize every zip code if you were to do zip code targeting. So for zip code targeting, I think there's 43,000 zip codes in the US, and I think Google says they recognize about 80% of them last time I checked. So there's a very good percentage that don't even get tracked, that Google doesn't even target or recognize. So what we recommend is doing city targeting as the smallest level, maybe a radius targeting, but for attorneys, we won't recommend that. If it's somebody like a dentist, then that would make sense. DMA targeting, which is your marketing area, or county targeting are really good. And of course, state level is great too, because it's a lot easier to get that targeting right for Google on a state level. The only exception is if you live like near a border city, where maybe like the IP address could overlap 2 states, then that's something that could be an issue. Similar to the problem we're looking at right here, same kind of an idea. That's one way to look at it. If as far as like a pro tip or something you can use, well, actually, let me get back into this client. They were using this kind of targeting, very specific, very restrictive, and that was one way we were able to increase their volume. The way we did is just by making sure we weren't too restrictive and being a little more liberal with our targeting. As far as you using this, or a pro tip for people who maybe are kind of scared to increase their targeting a whole lot more, target people within a reasonable driving range from your practice. So the idea here is a lot of times we've heard that attorneys can close deals better when people can come into their office, right? Some people just feel more comfortable when they're dealing with an attorney. They can just drive to the office, even if it's a 30-minute drive. Depending on where you live, that might be reasonable. So think about how far a person will be willing to drive in a lot of cases to feel comfortable. I'm not saying that people from a further area will not turn into customers for you, but If you had a limited budget, you want to do the best you can with that limited budget. So it's a good idea to maybe target within a reasonable distance from your practice area and be able to get people into your office and have a much better chance of turning a lead into an actual customer. So that's something you can do. As far as practical application, just make sure if you're running AdWords now, if you're doing it yourself or you have an agency doing it, just look at your targeting. If you're using zip code targeting, test out going a little bit more broad. Try city or county and see if that will help you out. Because I think that that's going to open up, the floodgates a little bit on the traffic, on the impressions, and you're not going to be missing out trying to snipe people in, high, very influential or people that have money, those kind of zip codes. So that could also be something where it's a great idea in theory, but it doesn't always work out that way in practice. So this was ROI Hack number 2. Look out for number 3. Once again, if you want to download the full case study, just click on the link below this video and download the PDF for yourself. It's got actionable insights for all these things. It's all broken out. There's screenshots, and hopefully that'll help you out. Thanks for watching.